सिर्फ क्रिकेट ही नहीं, हॉकी, कबड्डी, फुटबॉल, सभी मैदानों से सारा एक्शन सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्स तक पर। अभी डाउनलोड कीजिए स्पोर्ट्स तक ऐप।
तो जी आज आईपीएल की हम बात तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हमने सोचा कि आपको इंडिया से बाहर लेकर चलें। वन ऑफ द ऑल टाइम ग्रेट्स डेल स्टेन साउथ अफ्रीका से हमारे साथ। एंड वेलकम टू दिस शो डेल। You've been doing a lot of commentary, you've been on social media, you've been doing a lot of activity around the IPL, and now we have you on Sports Tuck.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I suppose now that I'm retired, the next best thing to do is to either talk about the game or coach about the game. So I'm starting with the talking part first, and who knows, maybe I'll break my way into coaching one day. But for right now, I'm just I do a lot of talking about the game.
And you've also been giving tips on the fantasy apps like Pari Match.
Yeah, I do a little bit here and there when asked to. Yeah, but my choices are often not very good.
They're not. We're in the same boat.
I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring out fantasy league. Yeah,
We're in the same boat then, Dale. But you'll have get a hang of it. How does it feel to be associated with the company, which is also associated with a lot of top football clubs in the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the largest brands in the world. You know, I think Parimatch has got over 2.6 million subscribers, and they sponsored Juventus, Chelsea, who I absolutely love, Leicester, Conor McGregor. You know, so it's just it's a great brand to be a part of. Yeah, hopefully it goes from strength to strength for the both of us.
I know you've played a lot of IPL as well, Dale. Which one is your favorite team now this year?
Oh my word! Look, all the teams I've either played against the teams really well, or I've played for the teams. I'm a big fan of Mumbai, and it's a shame to see that they just can't find that winning formula that they're so well known for right now. But I'm very happy for RCB. RCB look like they're in a good space apart from the last game that they played. You know, Delhi look a great team. Delhi are a great team, and I love that. You know, my two proteges in a way of fast bowlers for South Africa, and KG Rabada and Anir Nokia are doing so well for them. So they're a great team to watch. And CSK, I've always been a big MS Dhoni fan. So you know, all the teams, I love watching all of the teams right now. But I think Delhi have got something that they're running well with it right now.
And they also play fearless cricket. I mean, in terms of batting and like you said, Nokia and Rabada, two of the most intimidating fast bowlers in this IPL.
Absolutely. I mean, I think especially Anrich Nokia. He's just bowling like himself, and Lockie Ferguson are just at another level when it comes to speeds. And KG's just got this absolute knack of taking wickets all the time. He's just a magician when it comes to taking wickets. If you want a wicket, just give the ball to KG. You know, he could bowl you a bad ball and he'll probably still get you a wicket. So it's a great combination for Delhi to have right now. That's they've got the absolute raw pace of Anrich Nokia, and then they've got KG, who's just a wicket machine on the other side.
And RCB, the team that you last turned out for, Virat Kohli, you bowled to him, against him, you played alongside him. What do you think about this captaincy issue? Do you think it was on the expected lines for him to leave the RCB captaincy altogether?
I think the IPL captaincy came as a bit of a surprise. I think there was, when it comes to international teams and captaining international teams, that was also a bit of a surprise to me, really. But I understand where that comes from, because I've played so much international cricket and I've been around one particular international captain where they say, you know, they're only going to focus more on one or two parts of the game. So they're going to give up this captaincy because it is a lot of responsibility. But I thought that he may continue being the captain of RCB. But that was a surprise to me that he gave it up. But then again, you know, when I know recently retired, I know when I've got this feeling, this feeling on my chest that you just want to get out and you want to tell the world that this is not what you want to be doing right now. There's something else that you want to be focusing on. So he did it. He did it at the right time. He got it out at the start of the second leg of the IPL, and he said, "Guys, I'm letting you know that at the end of the season, I'm not doing this anymore." So it's quite nice that he can kind of like focus on that for the remainder of this IPL. But it is a surprise because Kohli is an all-in kind of player. He's all in with the ball, he's all in with the bat, he's all in the field, and then he's all in with his captaincy. So it is a bit of a surprise, but obviously there's a lot on his plate, and it's nice to kind of shift some of this responsibility off to somebody else, and he can focus mainly on his batting and his life. Really, he's got a young family right now, so yeah, good for him.
Will also be interesting, Dale, to see Virat Kohli 2.0, because like you said, somebody who's an all-in cricketer, who relishes the leadership, who's animated while being the captain and being an aggressive captain. So the moment the captaincy is taken away, or he's given it away, what happens to Virat, the batsman? Would he be the same? What do you feel about that?
I almost feel that he'll probably be better.
He'll be better
in a way. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think he'll be fantastic. He's still going to be batting where he wants to bat. He's Virat Kohli. He's one of the best batsmen in the world. So if he wants to bat three, he bats three. If he wants to open, he's going to open. It's not a difficult discussion. So I just feel like now that he might have that. He might just have to focus on his batting. Whereas when you captain. And if you've ever captained, and I've managed to captain a school team before, which is a long time ago, but I still know what goes into the mind of a captain being good friends with them, is that they worry about everything. They're worrying about the next game, everybody's health and fitness. And there's just so much on the plate that you have to concentrate on that I'm amazed that these guys can actually still go out there and do what they do best, because they get judged on what they do. If they don't score runs, they're going to get dropped. But I think Kohli now, he's fantastic. I've seen him play under MS back in the day, and other captains, and he scored tons of runs. He's going to be absolutely fine.
Dale, Rohit Sharma right now seems to be the successor in terms of T20s. Do you think India has got any more young leaders who could be groomed for the future in white ball cricket?
I mean, they've got tons. You just got to look around the IPL. There's just so many. There's so many. You got Sky, who I think could come in at some place. You got Rishabh Pant, who's looking good. Iyer, there's just so many of these guys. Rohit, they can all do it. But you just have to give somebody that responsibility and allow them to run with it. And India have been really good with that. They've given the captaincy to one particular player for a long period of time, and they've done the job. So they've got a bunch of different people to pick from. But I think the most exciting thing for India right now is that if you look at their young players that are coming through, they're all world-class players. You look at Siraj, Mohammad Siraj, Rishabh Pant. These guys are young guys, and they're doing extremely well at international level. So if you give the captaincy to somebody like a Rohit, who's been around for a while, he's won numerous IPLs, it's a great call so that he can nurture these young guys going forward.
Dale, since you've played international cricket for such a long time and you've been one of the legends in the game, as a bowler, have you seen cracks in Virat's batting, or is this just a momentary phase where runs aren't coming?
I think runs are they're not coming right now. Like you say, it's just a phase. He's a good player. Every good player goes through these phases. Even as a bowler myself, I went through one or two phases where I wasn't taking as many wickets. I'm still bowling good balls. I just wasn't getting any wickets. That's just how it goes. I've seen KG Rabada recently go through a little slump in international cricket. And then all of a sudden the next game, boom, turns it on and he's able to take wickets again. So, and Virat's the same. He's a great batsman. There is a lot of focus point on him. He is a focal point of many people. So even when he does well,
that's also a factor.
We're not too. Yeah, even when he does well, we don't really pay much attention to it because we feel like that's what he should be doing all the time. But when he does badly, it's like, oh, we can really grade him at it, So he is in the eye of the public every single time, whereas many other players are not, and they can kind of get away with it. But it's just a phase for him right now. He's a phenomenal player. I can guarantee you that, bowlers that are planning on playing against him today, last night already, are worried about bowling somebody like Virat. They're not sitting there thinking to themselves, he's in a slump, he's not scoring any runs, we're going to get him out. They know what kind of player he is, and as long as he's got that, he will score runs.
And Virat Kohli, Dale Steyn, have been on top of the game for a long, long time internationally. Obviously, the kind of reputation that you build, does that also lend extra pressure when things aren't really going your way? And then you tell yourself, oh, I'm Dale Steyn, I've got to pick wickets. Oh, I'm Virat Kohli, I've got to score runs and score them big.
Yeah, you just become known as this, for myself, if I can speak personally, I always got people knew me as somebody who took tons of wickets, all the time, and if I had a bad game, it was like, oh, what's going on, and it's like, but
no place to hide.
But that's, yeah, you got nowhere to hide. But at the end of the day, you're only human, and we all have our bad little phases. We go through a patch where things don't go our way. And we can't have it all the time, unfortunately. But yeah, there is a lot of focal point on somebody like Virat. So when he doesn't score runs, people start to talk. But he's a phenomenal player. He's a world-class player. He's got great people around him. And I think a lot of people forget about the work that he does, not just the runs that he scores. Even if he scores a duck, it doesn't matter. Somebody else on the other side is going to score runs purely because they're batting with Virat or because they're in the team with Virat. Same thing goes with somebody like AB de Villiers. He might get no runs in a particular game, but there's another person that's there sitting there thinking to themselves, I'm in the dressing room with AB de Villiers, with Virat Kohli, and I'm going to score runs for them today, to inspire them because they inspire me. That's the role that we don't see on paper. That's what you don't see in the scorecard.
That's the culture you build. That's the culture you build. And Adil,
absolutely,
we would have much rather wanted you to have been playing in the World T20 this year, but you'd be commentating. So who's going to win the World T20 this year?
Oh my goodness, I think there's so many teams. There's so many teams. I'm hoping that the Proteas win. I would love to see South Africa win a T20. I would love to see them win a World Cup, really. They've got that kind of, we've been around for a long time and we've done amazing things and everything like that, but it really boils down to the teams that are playing the best cricket. And there's a couple teams out there that are playing good cricket at the moment. But what I might say is that it's not going to surprise me if there's a new winner to the World Cup this time around. Somebody who hasn't won the T20 World Cup might take it. That's my thinking.
So you're leaving out India, you're leaving out Pakistan, you're leaving out Sri Lanka, you're leaving out West Indies, you're leaving out England as well.
England, correct. Yeah. So I'm going with New Zealand, South Africa. There's even a chance that if Bangladesh play really good cricket, you might even see Bangladesh.
Australia?
They've been playing Australia. Bangladesh have been playing really good cricket lately.
Yes.
They've
and
beaten
those
Australia
pitches might
and
just
Bangladesh.
suit them.
Absolutely, and you go in as an underdog kind of team. Nobody's expecting you to win, and you put in great performance. Shakib Al Hasan has come in, has been a revelation for them since coming back from his time off. And I think Russell Domingo is doing some good stuff with him there. But I think you'll crown a new winner. So let's see what happens.
A new winner in the IPL as well this year?
Has Delhi won the IPL before?
Never. Delhi, Bangalore,
Never?
and my favorite team, Punjab. They've never done that before. And I would, with great hesitancy, take Punjab out from the probables list. So that leaves you with Bangalore and Delhi.
Yeah, I think Delhi and CSK, obviously right now, like they just look, they look the cream, RCB have also got a great squad. They just got to start winning. KKR look like they're doing great things now. They looked good at the start, but they got a real uphill battle. I think they've got to win every single game to kind of make the playoffs. And had they played the way they're playing right now, earlier on, at least 1-2 more games earlier on, they would have been somebody to look at. But I think Delhi and CSK are the two teams that you're going to have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and Kolkata started winning, Dale. They're all of a sudden in the top 4 race as well.
They're in the top 4.
They are in the top 4. And Mumbai, surprisingly, are the ones who having this iffy start yet again, but it might not suit them because they do start slow. But when you have the tournament in 2 halves, you can't start the first half slow and then
slow
the
and the
second
second
half
half
slow as well.
Correct. Yeah, no. And Mumbai, I've got it. They desperately need Hardik Pandya and Krunal, to be honest with you. Krunal Pandya, he needs to come to the party for them. He needs to start putting in some bigger contributions. So I'm not calling him out in any way, but I think those two brothers are just, they desperately needed in that middle order for Mumbai. You can't rely on Quinny, Rohit, and Sky to score all you the runs and hope that Pollard does something magical at the end and Bumrah and Bolt win you games with the ball all the time. That middle there, you desperately need that middle to come to the party, because if things don't go the way,
their strength can become their weakness as well, like we've seen in the last 2 games. As somebody who's been an express fast bowler, how do you look at Jasprit Bumrah and how he's evolved as a fast bowler? Because I remember when he first played Test cricket for India in South Africa, Michael Holding was the commentator and looked at his action and said, Bumrah may not last long because of the bowling action and there'd be stress on his back. So how would you define Bumrah? And if you were to tell him something about his bowling or the action, what would that be?
Oh goodness! I mean, that action is just very unique. It's such a unique action, and I wouldn't try and tamper with it at all. I think everyone is allowed to do and bowl the way the old book in the way that we do cricket has gone out the window these days. We don't follow that rule book anymore, because if we did, it would be very boring cricket. To be fair, you look at somebody like Lasith Malinga who bowled from here. You look at somebody like Paul Adams who bowled upside down, and yet they were super successful and very rarely struggled with injuries. When you try and take people like that and you normalize them, that's when you're going to start to find problems. So, with Bumrah, the only thing I'd do is I'd go to him and speak to him and ask him what it is that he wants to do more of, what he has an idea of, where he thinks he can better himself. And then I would spend time with him working and trying to do that. But right now, he's a world-class bowler. He's a world-class bowler. Maybe sometimes if you don't take any wickets, because he's still a young man, he can be low in confidence. But then again, when I listen to him talk, when he's playing for India, he plays for the team. He's not playing for himself as an individual, which is also a great thing to see. So that kind of spurs him on to do a little bit better. But I haven't spent much time with Bumrah to see what's going on inside the brain of Jasprit Bumrah. But right now he looks fine. He looks great.
And what's Dale Steyn doing these days, besides doing a bit of cricket commentary and fantasy apps, spending time with the family? Do you miss cricket? Do you miss being on the park?
I do. I miss playing. I absolutely love playing. Playing was just, I'm never going to be able to do it again. I'll never be as good as anything else in my life as I was at cricket. So I do miss it. I don't walk into the ocean when I go surf and people go, oh, here comes that great surfer. I'm just an ordinary Joe when I go surfing, or when I go trail running. I'm just an ordinary person. But when I walked onto a cricket field, it was quite different. There was a little bit of respect. There was this little bit of like fear that I had, and I'll never have that in anything else that I ever do. So yeah, I do miss playing. I absolutely miss playing. But I love watching the game. I love still learning today. I like to learn. And figure out things that I never knew whilst I was playing, and then wish that I could have done that a little bit more whilst I was a player. But yeah, otherwise right now I just talk a lot about the game, and I'm spend a lot of my free time with my dogs, and I love surfing, and I love fishing, and I just love being outdoors, really.
Dale Steyn, the commentator, how were he to judge Dale Steyn, the fast bowler? I mean, without mincing words, were you the best all-time fast bowler, all-condition fast bowler, not all-time, all-condition fast bowler in your era?
I mean, I think
somebody who's picked up wickets in every country, in every condition.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose, but I do boil a lot of that success down to a good captain. I had a great captain in Graham Smith, a great other captains in Hashim Amla, and they always seemed to turn to me when they needed the wicket or when there was a breakthrough. They would turn to me, and when batters are first in at the crease, they're at their most vulnerable, and I'd be able to bowl to them. So I was able to get wickets in the subcontinent. Also, let's also not forget that I did get one of the greener tracks that India has ever produced in a test match. And they decided to bat first. Correct. You don't see that. And you don't see that happen.
I don't know what happened.
You don't see that happen. Yeah. And you don't see that happen a lot, not in the subcontinent. And I mean, granted, you still got to get the ball in the right area. You still got to get the wickets. Somebody else could have gotten them. But yeah, you don't always go to India and get absolute flat dogs. But I suppose you also don't always go to Australia and get green tops. You sometimes can go to Australia and have to, like, if you go to Perth, you have to grind. I've seen scores of 500 plus there. So the conditions didn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, I think I had a wonderful captain, and I was always able to respond to him and take wickets when he needed them or he wanted them.
You've not still answered me. Were you the best fast bowler, the best and the most effective all-condition fast bowler in your era?
I think I was the best that South Africa had in that period.
I think you were the best in your era, internationally.
Well, thank you. There was a lot of fantastic players. I'm not
barring one juicy half volley that you bowled to me in an exhibition match in Hyderabad 2015. Correct. Because I told you, Dale, my son is a huge fan. Please bowl me one juicy half volley, which you did. And I actually claimed you off for a boundary, and I have that recording as well, which I show it to my son every single day.
I've still got nightmares of that cover drive, so well done. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, Dale. Not just one of the greats, you're also an excellent human being, as the viewers can make out from the interview. And I would also wish you luck for your commentary and your future career as well, because somebody who can see the game as you do, I'm sure we'd also be able to see the game through the lenses of your eyes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think I always get a lot of help. I've got one of our video analysts that worked for Cricket South Africa, Prasanna. I always contact him when I need a little bit of guidance and help, because I don't claim to know it all.
You prepare for your commentary as well.
Absolutely. I prepare, I write down notes. I know who's doing well. He will always message me and we'll discuss who we feel is going to do good. And it just becomes good talking points, I'm learning at this job too. So I need all the help I can get.
Yeah. And for the fantasy guidance as well. Thanks, Dale. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
अब सिर्फ क्रिकेट ही नहीं, हॉकी, कबड्डी, फुटबॉल, सभी मैदानों से सारा एक्शन सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्स तक पर। अभी डाउनलोड कीजिए स्पोर्ट्स तक ऐप।